Now, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside. No, it's all about the time I met the late, great Peter Mayhew. Chewbacca for me has been and will continue to be genuinely my favourite film character of all time. I mean, it's who I model my appearance on, right? And I was lucky enough, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2017, I was lucky enough to meet and kind of interview the man beneath the yak fur at London Film and Comic Con. I was genuinely really nervous. Now, of course, it's the mighty Chewbacca I was dealing with, but I've actually interviewed hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and with respect to Mr. Mayhew, a lot more famous people than him. And apart from the very early ones, I never felt a drop of nerves. But with this one, I was feeling it. And I guess a lot of it came down to the fear of disappointment. Of course, the saying, never meet your heroes, your idols. So that was in play here. There have been instances in the past where I've had a disappointing interview experience, which, rightly or wrongly, has resulted in me looking differently at someone's film or music or performance on a sports pitch. So that fear was in play here with meeting Mayhew. I was doing kind of interviews for a BBC music project where basically, to cut a long story short, I was trying to make a song consisting of samples from people not associated with music. I had a bag of instruments that required no musical ability to play whatsoever. I recorded samples, and then I sent those samples to Ahmed Best, actor, Jar Jar Binks, performer, and great music producer and musician himself, under the musical guise of DJ Starfaker, and it was his job to try and make it sound listenable enough to play on the BBC Six Music breakfast show. And the idea was to sort of show that anybody can get involved with music. Just pick up an instrument, get playing. That was the name of the project. And I don't know if Peter knew that he was involved with this. I think he was just told, the BBC are here at this Comic Con, they'd like to talk to you. Do you want to talk to them? Yeah, okay. And he came in and he was in his mobility scooter. I mean, up until this point in recent years, he'd had a couple of knee replacements, I think, and spinal surgeries. Of course, his mobility wasn't great. And also, I have to say, his speech wasn't great as well. Now, I don't know if this was linked to a condition or if it was just simply tiredness. He doesn't live in the UK. He didn't live in the UK at this point. So he would have had a long journey. Comic Cons are tiring, noisy places. They're energy zapping places. I'm not his doctor. I don't know where that came from, but his speech wasn't great. So he kind of came in and didn't really say much, which wasn't a good start and obviously didn't help my nerves. And we tried to get stuck into an interview, but it never really happened beyond a few sound bites, which I actually ended up putting on this channel. I'll put some cards up wherever they may be, if you'd like to check those out. And it was kind of okay. You know, he was doing his best and he was nice and he was funny in a kind of grumpy uncle way with a sort of dry Brit sense of humour. But it wasn't until the music got mentioned. That's when he really lit up. Now, he has no musical ability whatsoever. Well, he told me he didn't. And I opened the bag of instruments and thrusted upon him a kazoo. And that was a game changer. He blew that kazoo with such pride and passion, and even somehow managed to make it sound a bit like a Wookiee.
Do you know what? It actually sounds like a Wookiee, though. That's incredible.
I do have that unwashed kazoo backer somewhere. I should probably find that. I remember as he left, he said something cheekily like, "Good luck, Ahmed," as he left the interview. I say interview, it was not an interview. So in that sense, was it disappointing? Maybe. I would have loved to have done a proper sit-down kind of career talk with him. But at the same time, I feel like I, in some ways, learned more about him in those minutes. We're talking like 15 minutes than I would have if I did do a proper interview, because what he showed me was really his personality, in the sense that he was kind of a little bit rebellious, up for a laugh and ready to play along. Because if you interview a celebrity, most of them will play along and give you what you want, but they are expecting a good chat about their career, to promote their book maybe, their film, their album. They'd be quite angry if you just thrusted a kazoo upon them and said, "Blow it. Right, leave. Job done." You know? Peter, it was almost like that's what he came for. You know, nothing else. He demonstrated to me that he really is Chewie. as well, without even meaning to, just the subtle movements, cocking his head, and those blue eyes as well. So as a fan, that was enough. In some ways, he didn't need to say anything, just sort of being in his presence. It was like being with Chewie. And also he demonstrated his love for the character, because when we did talk, it was about the character, and he was knowledgeable and he was passionate. And you can see the way he interacts with fans at these events, that he also enjoys sharing that love for the character with other people. Now, of course, it's a payday, these Comic Cons, but still, he genuinely showed that love, in my eyes, at least. So condolences to his family and his friends, and I'm just honoured to be able to say that I met the man. Weirdly, to say that I made sweet music with the man, but most importantly, that the real-life Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew, turned out to be the legend that I hoped he would.